Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Many of you might actually recognize this case. This is the case that I built my brother's PC in the video where I built my brother's PC. Thank you for turning on the light. As you can see, we modded a little bit because when I built that video, I believe I had an Intel stock cooler on this i7-3770. Unfortunately, that stock cooler gave us problems from the very beginning, as one of the plastic feet that actually penetrated the motherboard and kept itself fastened to the CPU bracket. One of the feet was broken, so the CPU wasn't receiving ample cooling and the computer performed horribly. It would stutter, it would freeze. We actually thought it was the GPU for a while because of the weird visual glitches that were going on, but it turned out it was because the CPU was actually spiking temps and then coming back down, which were the freezes that we would see. Why the computer didn't crash more often, we have no idea. When a friend and I actually went to Micro Center earlier, beginning of 2019, I actually picked up this, I believe, Hyper 212 for this motherboard. And of course, the Hyper 212 was a little bit too tall for this Asus pre-built case. So I ended up getting some tin snips and cutting a hole in here so the cooler could actually be in there. And that was a little over about a year and a half ago where I ended up doing that. The computer has performed just fine. It has an i7-3770, of course the Hyper 212 as I said before. It also has an RX 480. It has 16 gigabytes of DDR3 and I think it still has the True Power Trio power supply that I put in over 2 years ago.
Hello everyone, Future Slip here. I just want to say that the computer in question, my brother's PC, if you watch the video where I built his computer, I put a 650 watt True Power Trio in there. However, it ended up giving me problems not too long after, and I ended up switching it out for a power supply that I got off of a friend. I believe it was a 460 watt Dell power supply. So yeah, that's the power supply that's in there right now. It's not the True Power Trio.
3 years ago, almost 3 years ago actually. Title of the video might not be super clear, but we're actually going to be upgrading my brother's PC. Unlike the video where I upgraded my brother's PC into the big, I believe it was an Antec case, it was a full tower case. That video was a disaster and it didn't fix any of the problems that were in this case. So we actually ended up returning back to this case. The Antec case is long gone. I got rid of that not long after we actually made that video. But the reason for upgrading is, as you can see, I have the VR headset here, which is, yes, the same headset that I used or that I unboxed in the video where I unboxed the Oculus Rift S and I did a little review about it. Man, I'm gonna be referring to a lot of videos. There's gonna be like there's gonna be like cards popping up everywhere. It's gonna be crazy, man. The reason that we are upgrading is actually because of this guy, because a lot of the games that my brother plays is handled just fine by this computer. Unfortunately, he does wanna play VR. Normally when I'm not home, he'll go on my computer and he'll play VR. I have an account set up for him on my computer and he'll play VR games that way, but I'd like him to just take my VR headset off the wall because I usually have it unplugged. I have it hanging on on like a commando hook in my room. He can just pick that up out of my room and put it into his computer and it'll work. Unfortunately, we ran into a specific problem, so that's actually what we're going to be showing you right now. So now I'm going to be showing you exactly why we actually have to build my brother a new PC. I have the video up for you guys. I have the screen capture set up with OBS. That'll be recording in the background while I'm going to be doing all of this. But first, let's hook up the headset to the computer and see what happens. So first, let me just open up Oculus. And while that's starting up, I'm gonna grab my headset over here and we're gonna hook it up to the back of the computer. So for the Oculus Rift S, as I said in that video, we're going to need a DisplayPort and a USB 3 plug-in. As you can see here, we have DisplayPort and USB 3. The DisplayPort is actually going to be fine, but the USB 3 is going to be the problem here. So you're gonna see in a second that the DisplayPort, that Oculus is actually going to read both of them just fine. So for some reason it's not reading the display. Oh, it just read the DisplayPort. That's awesome. But as you can see in the corner, it may or may not pop up again. I have no idea. But Windows actually says that this motherboard doesn't have enough USB controllers for the device. So it looks like everything is running just fine. But if we actually head over to the next page, oh, there we go. So when it actually goes to the headset sensors check, it says sensors can't track the headset. And it says, please turn on the camera settings and your Windows privacy settings to set up and use your Rift S. I've already done this. I've done everything, but it looks like it's actually because of the USB resources as to why the headset isn't working. So that's why we're building him a new PC. So we have his old PC here. I'm going to be taking out the SSD and the hard drive and putting into the new PC because obviously the posting part of doing the new PC, we're going to be posting, make sure all the parts are actually working. We're also going to make sure that VR works before we even do the transfer to the case. Let me just take everything out of here. I'm gonna go over the parts real quick. First things first, you guys might recognize this from the video where I built my brother's PC, the first one, the one that started it all. This is my RX 580. As I said in the video, bro, I hate UPS. Referring to all the videos in this video today. This was actually the card in the first story where I actually got 2 of them. I actually sold the other one, but I still have this one left. I'm going to be throwing this guy in this computer. So he'll have a little bit more horsepower because this is a 580, he's upgrading from an RX 480. The reason that we have a 480 in here instead of the 580 is because of the power supply. We're actually moving from, all the parts are in here, by the way. I don't know if you can see it. This case does have tinted glass, and yes, this is the Mesh FIC, which is the same case that I have. This was actually given to me by the same friend that went to Micro Center, as aforementioned earlier. We bought pretty much the same case, but when he took his home, he noticed that he accidentally bought the one with the tinted glass. All the parts are in here, so let me take everything out and show you everything. All right, so this is the moment that you've all been waiting for, and I'm just gonna... CIO shield, I want to keep that. That's a SATA. I don't need it, but I'm gonna keep that too. This motherboard by Gigabyte cost me $59.99 USD, I want to say. I'll put the listing up. I actually believe it's out of stock now. I think I got this thing in the nick of time. It's a B450 board. Before I even touch that, let's connect the wall to my leg. That's a good thing to do. Anyway, I am now grounded, connected to the wall via this extension cord. So here is the motherboard. It's pretty small. I think this is micro ATX because mini ITX is actually smaller than micro ATX, which is weird. It's a fairly small board, but the reason I'm putting it in this case was my friend sold me this case for $30. This board was, like I said, 60 bucks, and we're gonna see if we can play VR with it. The box for it, this thing is so cheap, the box isn't even marked. This is literally the box that it came in. And I'm gonna move this out of the way for now, because we're gonna be opening that in a little bit towards the end. And let's sit down. All right, let's get this build started. Dude, is my hair frizzy? Nice. I think I'm getting a haircut later this week. Dude, this is like 3 months worth of hair. I suppose let's get started. Do you want to hand me the... So, I know this is in the Ryzen 9 box, but I'm actually going to be using my old Ryzen 7 1700X. I recently upgraded to the, of course, you can see the Ryzen 9 3900X. I guess we'll put that in. And of course, for our cooler, we are going to be using the Wraith cooler that comes with the Ryzen 9. If it can cool the Ryzen 9, which is about 105 watts, it should be fine at cooling this Ryzen 7, which is about 95 watts. So the Wraith cooler should be just fine cooling the Ryzen 7, and it should look pretty cool in this case. That's actually not a bad cooler. Let's install the processor. Oh, and also before I get to that, we do have 16 gigs of 3200 speed DDR4 Ripjaw 5, or like Ripjaw V. I don't know. Hopefully both of these RAM cards work, because didn't happen last time. Only one of them worked last time. Oh, also, once again, don't use this computer. Don't use this video as a build guide. Don't use this as a build guide. I know I literally like just built a computer, but once again, this is just entertainment. I'm gonna probably put that like up there because I forgot to say it earlier. Pull up the little retention things. So we have this arm that goes down on here, and then this guy goes down, locked in place. Does this thing not have any 2.0 front IO adders? Our power supply, this is a 1200 watt. I believe this is an 80 plus gold thermal take power supply. I've had this guy for a couple years now. This was in my first PC. You should not reuse power supplies. This power supply should be much more reliable than the stock power supply that's in this guy. So it is going to be an upgrade either way, although I definitely don't recommend this. So that's why I'm saying, once again, this is not a build guide. Please don't follow it like one. So yeah, let's install the graphics card and then we'll install the power supply, and then we will test out to make sure and see if the VR headset will work on the computer. So the front I/O is really wacky on this one. It actually has a really, really good I/O. So we have two USB 2, we have a keyboard / mouse PS2, we have a VGA and DVI, DisplayPort, and HDMI. So this motherboard has all 4 of the main display outs that you could possibly want if you were building with an APU, which this Ryzen 7 is not. Then we have 2 USB 3.0s, 2 USB 3.1s.
So I did a little bit of research into the red ports on the motherboard because I honestly had no idea what they really meant. When I did some looking up, it actually initially seemed like I was incorrect, and these were referred to as sleep and charge ports, meaning that the computer could be off but still receive power to those ports, so you could charge a cell phone while the computer was off. However, I noticed that on this specific motherboard, the I/O shield marked those 2 ports as USB 3.1 ports, and the blue ports as USB, indicating that they're USB 3.0 ports. So it looks like that I was actually correct from what I just said before, and I thought I might let you guys know.
2 more USB 3.0s, but we got the blue ones and we got the red ones and we got the black ones. That's all you need. We also have an RJ45 Ethernet jack and a standard audio controller here. I'm going to be putting on the graphical card to get all the good graphical boys. All right, I'm going to be putting this case down for right now. I have the glass stored in a very careful location. We are going to be going back down there. That's where I'll hook up the power supply, so I don't have to do it right here and then pull it. It'll just be better, okay? Before I actually have the newly built computer all set up over there, ready to go for posting. But before I do that, we are going to be taking the SSD out of this computer so we can make sure that Oculus works before we actually put the whole thing together. Even though realistically, there's not a whole lot I can do at this point if it doesn't go together, because I honestly have no idea if that motherboard will have enough USB controllers, but you know, a man can hope, you know? So I have not opened this computer since probably about a year now. So I don't know how much of a mess it is inside, and I really am not looking forward to finding out. So we're going to be doing this little adventure together. All right, so it's actually not as bad as I thought it was gonna be in here. It's as clean as I could get it for what it is. So we have the Hyper 212, we have a front fan and a rear fan, which are the only 3 fans in this entire system. We have the RX 480 down here, and we have a 1 terabyte hard drive, which is the same hard drive in the video where I built my brother's PC. I have a 256 gig, I think it's a Kingston SSD in there as well. So we're going to be taking the SSD out. I'm going to be keeping the hard drive in there. I'd rather not the hard drive be on while not mounted to anything, because we don't want the vibrations to damage the platters. So I'm just gonna take the SSD out. The hard drive is probably going to be really difficult to take out anyway, because the SSD is really the only thing I need. Let's take the SATA cable that was in here. So I'm going to use one of the front mounted SATA, because it's just easier to get to. But now, we're gonna get you guys pointed at the TV and we're gonna see if Oculus works. I have everything set up. Keyboard and mouse are plugged in, finger ready on the delete key. Let's get this thing moving. That's the power LED. Okay, it looks like it went through a boot loop. We're gonna let it run for a little bit. Oh, there we go. All right, that's dope. I think it's already booting the Windows. All right, I guess we'll see in Windows if everything is showing up. It's kind of an ugly boot screen, but I mean, what are you gonna do? Okay, and here we are inside of Windows. All right, you guys should be able to see my screen once again. The first things first, let's make sure everything's good. All right, so our Ryzen 7 1700X is showing up just fine. Our BIOS is F50, which is, I believe, the latest version 4GB, which is awesome. So this motherboard should be able to support Gen 3 Ryzen, which, I mean, doesn't really apply in our case. We have 16GB of RAM, graphics ready on processor, and we have the RX 580. So everything is showing up just fine. Let's go to Oculus, and I just typed in Oculus. Okay, moment of truth. Or over here, I guess. We have the headset right here. Let's get it plugged in. I'm a little nervous, but I mean, it really do be like that sometimes. Please, for the love of God. Okay, headset light's on, USB 3 is on, and there's no message about USB controllers, and headset sensor check is complete, boys. We got it. Hell yeah, dude. This is awesome. This is the whole reason why I bought a $60 motherboard. So you can, it's official. Hell yeah, dude. Claim your free Rift S app bundle. Hell yeah, I'll claim that. I don't think I've played either of those games like to this day. Hey, can I skip this, please? Hello? I don't want health. I'm not healthy. So now we're actually going to be transferring the computer, which thank God actually works, into the case, and how about we play some games, no? All right, let's take this guy apart, leaving just the CPU, the cooler, and the RAM on. Throw it into the case. I actually had to run back home and get some spare screws that I collected because my friend did not give me the screws for the case when he gave me the case. And I have it in like this nice little DS Pokemon thing for Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Do you remember when Heart Gold and Soul Silver came out? The Poke Walker? It really do be like that. Anyway, let's start taking everything apart. I have not put an IO shield on a case in a while. It's clipping in there. Hey, dude, look at me go. The standoffs are already in there, just so you know. Oh no, that was actually way easier than I expected. Little feetsies. Okay, I should just slip right back into place. As far as hard drive installation, or storage installation, I should say, pretty much done. Mount on the power supply is depressed, and not like depressed in like a funny haha way. I plugged in the front USB ports and the HD audio, or the front audio. Now we're just gonna do the rest of the front lights, starting with the reset switch. This is where having big meaty fingers is not the best play, you know what I mean? This is why Linus Tech Tips is so good at building computers. Why do you have to work out when I make videos, bro? Why do you gotta be like that? Just trying to be swole every second of the day? Well, newsflash, kid. You don't have to. Newsflash, you can be swole and be a virgin. I'm so good at this game. Oh, this is a bad thing. Thick fingers, bro. Yeah, this isn't gonna be the cleanest PC ever, but I mean, it really just, once again, it really do be like that sometimes. We really just have the GPU now. There we go, perfect. So GPU is in. Let's feed the GPU cables. And booyah, that's plugged in. I'm gonna take a look through my box of fans to see if I can find a fan. Yeah, they're all Antec. Okay, we're using the Corsair fan. I was trying to have some decency as far as symmetry goes, but it looks like we're not gonna have any of that today. Oh my God, there's fan screws in the fan boxes. I never used them. Oh, this is a good day. Then we can have all the airflow now. Hold on. So this is the tray for the power supply. And then I think just like the Focus G, that feels good. These are super duper cheap screws though. We're gonna do a screw in each corner. I really can't, like I can't be bothered. Do we have another fan header? We have one down there. There we go, just break it, that's cool. I'm just gonna keep it with 2 fans so we have neutral airflow. We're done with the fans. We're actually pretty much done with everything. The computer at this point is pretty much done. Let's do a little bit of cable management on the back of the case, clean some stuff up.
Who's ready for some cable management? Oh yeah!
Alright, so the computer's pretty much done. The cable management's not the best, but I mean, for what it is, this could be worse. It's pretty bad, but it could be worse. Let's boot it. Let's see what happens. And I'm afraid. Oh, get the mouse, because you need the mouse and the keyboard to press the buttons and get everything going, you know? Hey guy, something's going on at all times, you know? Alright, we're good. I have a funny feeling. Everything will be fine. My guy, my dude, wanna point at the television? No. How dare you? Oh, do you want to see the PC lights first? All right, we'll see the PC lights first. All right, 3, 2, 1. Get the TV, get the TV. Get, you don't have to, it's not on yet. But like, TV. Oh my God! Oh, I'm unstoppable. I'm so good at this game. All right, here we are back at the desktop. Let's turn on Oculus. All right, we actually have Blades and Sorcery downloaded, ready to go. Before I do that, I'm going to be putting both of these computers back together, putting the side panels back on, and I'm just gonna, there we go. I guess this is sort of the end of an era, and that's probably an over-exaggeration, but if you guys remember, 2 years ago when I actually put this thing together, this video I would say is the turning point for the channel taking more of a technology-focused approach from a gaming one, and where I would personally say my content really started to improve. And now it's probably just going to sit somewhere doing nothing for most of the rest of its life, but I think that's a good thing because this computer is 8 years old. So I think it's time to put this guy to rest and focus on the new. So it's definitely the end of an era. I would say it's been real. This guy will probably, unless I can figure out something to do with it, you guys probably won't see this computer on the channel anymore. I guess we'll play some games, shall we? Alright, so in the original video, we sort of lost the audio for the outro, but I mean, new clothes, new haircut, no computer because it's in my brother's room. He's still using his Xbox, which kind of sucks a lot, but hey, we're hoping to change that one day. But honestly, the computer performs way better than I think I expected. I mean, that upgrade, including some parts from my old PC, was not even $200, which is kind of insane. This is probably one of the most edited videos to this point, even more so than when I built my friend's PC 2 videos back. This is sort of the style that we're going for going forward when it comes to My Life is a Mess, especially. For videos like UPS, and we have a couple more ideas for the future, it's going to be a little bit different, but this is sort of the main style for this type of video. But like I said, I did put a lot of work, both me and NickelPie put a lot of work into making this video and all of the videos for you guys, so I'd really appreciate it if you guys could give us a like, maybe subscribe to see any future content that we kind of put forward. Also, make sure to check out My Life is a Mess, the playlist. I'm going to have that linked in the cards, and you can also see the videos that I've included in this video in the past in the cards above. And like I said, I'll put that in the description as well. And also, make sure to follow me on Extinguish My Felicity on Twitch. I do some Twitch streaming every once in a while. And last but not least, make sure to subscribe to NickelPie on YouTube, as well as follow him on Twitch. He is the cameraman and he is the mind behind the lighting, camera, audio, and a lot of stuff like that. So I honestly really couldn't do it without him, and I'd really appreciate it if you could support us both and we can continue to make content for you guys going forward. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Hope you had a great day, and see you next time.